Good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Jeam Macdonald of the New Midlife Women community, speaking to you on Radio Works World, created by the wonderful Marina Nani. Our passion at the Midlife Women community is to help more midlife women find love by finding and loving themselves. And I'm the author of the soon-to-be-published book, Love, Sex and the Midlife Woman, your guide to empowering intimate relationships. Today, I'm delighted to introduce Adrienne Marks, and the topic of her recent book is Me Time, which is bang on our target of helping midlife women to find themselves and find love. Now, I do want to draw particular attention to Adrienne's earrings. Would you like to show your earrings, Adrienne? Aren't they wonderful? There we go. Right, now, what I want to ask you, Adrienne, is you heard me do my introduction for the Midlife Women community, and I'm going to ask you all about your work in just a moment, but I hope you would agree there is a connection between what the New Midlife Women community is doing and your book about Me Time.
Absolutely, because I just feel it's really important, because one of the reasons I wrote the book and one of the reasons I do what I do is because I really believe that there are far too many women out there of a, quote, certain age who have been spending their lives looking after other people and they never look after themselves. And that's what Me Time is all about. Me Time is all about, you know, when is it going to be me time? When is it time for me to look after myself? And so that's the connection is phenomenal. It really is.
Very good. Well, I hope we will get to answering that question, which isn't a rhetorical question. When am I going to get around to looking after me? But I think before we do that, I think our audience would like to know a bit about your background and history, because the temptation is to think that very competent women particularly have always been like that, and maybe they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. So it might be useful if you gave people a bit of a background before we get to talking about the meat of your book.
Well, far from having a silver spoon in my mouth, that's quite funny actually. No, I was very working class background, and a very tough life, if you like, because I was bullied at school, and I always had issues about confidence and how I felt about myself, and it took me a long time to be the woman you see in front of you. It took a lot of working at, and I now, as I say, I'm so passionate in helping other women get that confidence, because that's what it's all about. Because when you love yourself, that's what Me Time's about. It's about loving yourself. When you love yourself and you accept yourself for who you are, people don't need fixing, and that's the trouble with the world today. Everybody has to be thinner or richer, and they're always, you know, keeping up with the whoever's, and that's not who you are. You're this awesome, amazing, wonderful person, but it's discovering, and that's what I did. That's what I do, and that's what I want for people, to be able to find that link inside them.
So how did you find it, Adrienne?
With a lot of hard work,
Mm-hmm.
going through some really tough times, being in toxic relationships and being a victim and letting other people tell me how I should live my life. But one day I woke up and I went, enough, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. And I started talking to people, I started reading. I was very lucky because by then the internet had just started, so you can tell it was a long time ago. And I started connecting with people. I went to the States, I did a lot of coaching out there, and the more I learned and the more that helped me, the more I realized that I wanted to help other people, because I thought that, you know, I can't be the only one going through all this stuff. And it is just stuff. It's all about limiting beliefs, because up till the age of about 7, we're given all this stuff from people, families, and our environment, our teachers, our siblings, and we take it all in because we've got no filters. We don't know what's wrong or right or true or false. And so we take all this stuff and we believe it. We believe that we're too fat. We believe that we're not pretty enough. We believe that we're not capable. We have no confidence in our abilities. And that's what happens. And then life comes along and it just reinforces that stuff. So you accept second best. You go out with somebody, you marry somebody, that you compromise. You spend your life compromising. And then if you're lucky, you wake up one day and go, this isn't right. And I think the problem is that we see too many sort of perfections out there, and it's all photoshopped images, and people who are too thin, and people who don't accept who they are. And women are always comparing themselves. Oh, look, she's got a better bum than me, and she's got a better husband than me, and a better house. And you're always comparing yourself. Why? You're unique. It's like your fingerprints. You're absolutely unique. And I learned all this, and it made me realize that I'm unique. I might not be as slim, or I'm certainly not as tall as as people, but I'm unique. Who I am is who I am. I don't need fixing. And when I realized that, when I started loving myself, because that's what it came down to, because you can't love anybody else until you love yourself. And once you love yourself, then that's all you need in your life.
Right. Well, you're such a wonderful example of somebody who has reinvented themselves and really taken a different. Well, let's say you've created a new you. Now, I know quite a few midlife women who are so busy and keep themselves. Well, let's say that is their excuse for everything. And you said a lovely phrase a little earlier about deciding when enough is enough. And I'm very interested in what brings about the point at which they make that decision or come to that realization. Have you any help with that?
I think that you wake up, literally, you wake up one morning, something just pushes you over the edge. It's the straw that broke the camel's back. It's somebody asking too much of you, somebody saying, oh, can you drive me to wherever? Can you make sure that dinner's on the table? Can you do this? Can you do that? And you suddenly go, no, I can't. I haven't got any resources inside me. You can't look after other people if you've got nothing left inside. It's like the Duracell battery. Even the Duracell battery can only run on for so long, right? So
yes.
It's your battery has only got a limited life, and unless you keep recharging it, you're not going to give it to anybody else.
Right. So could we say that part of the perhaps education process to help women get to the point where they are daring enough, although I'm suggesting a point where they dare to make that realization or to face up to the realization, could come from reading your book?
I would hope so. I would hope so. Yeah. I would think that my book could talk to everybody, but it's like anything. There's no point just reading it and putting it on the shelf. It's what we call shelf development.
Yes.
I'm sure I've done it, been there, done it, read loads of books, put them on the shelf, and now it's a great collection on there, but not actually doing it.
Right.
So there's no point reading my book. I've got past clients who've said to me, I don't read your book from cover to cover, but if I need an answer for something, I'll just open it up and go, oh, look, that's just going to solve today's problem, because it's a dip-in type of book. You don't have to read it from page 1 to page whatever it is at the end. You can just dip into it, and just, even though it does flow, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I was looking at it again before we talked, and I was delighted to be reminded of how chatty and easy to read it is, because I could hear your voice when I was reading it. It's just like you talking.
It is very much, and that's how I write. It is exactly that. You know, I'll throw in things like bugger and blimey and darling and whatever it is as I'm talking, and that's how I write, because I think that's what people, you know, I've read too many sort of textbooks where it's cold and dry, and you think this might be fascinating and I might learn so much from it. But if I don't resonate with the writer, if the writer's not connecting with me properly, I get bored, and I'm like, no, I don't want to read this anymore.
Right. Well, that's very important, and I remember. Well, despite that, there's so much wisdom and common sense that comes in from this apparently chatty conversation. It's a very happy blend of the two, and also you've got some amazing quotations you found. I thought they were lovely. So I would say, you know, so much practical advice, but we've also, I think we've touched upon the idea people have got to get. Oh, I don't know how to do this. This is the $64,000 question. How people get themselves ready to the point where they suddenly make this change, or say, I'm ready to make a change.
I think people. I think you just know when you're ready. You go a certain way, and and you will keep doing whatever it is you're doing, and then one day, literally, you wake up and you say, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this job. I can't be in this relationship. I can't. Well, I want more. I want more in my life, and I think that's why we're here, you and I, to show people that, you know, we're like this beacon, this light, saying, you know, if you just follow us, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's the way out of we're the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's great, and that's wonderful to think of ourselves like that. That's a great privilege. So what would you say from your experience is the biggest thing that hold women back from giving themselves this time, the me time, and the self-love?
Lack of confidence, self-esteem. It all comes down to one thing. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve.
And what do you think is causing that lack of self-worth?
That comes down to, you know, what you learn when you're a kid. You know, my mother, for instance, believed that, you know, men had to be looked after, and you had to do this, and you know, and that's the generation that I grew up in. And I'm sure women of my age, of our age, feel, you know, were brought up the same. You have to look after the husband, so you give the husband the biggest share of dinner, and you serve him first, and the children come first. And, you know, if you've got aging parents and they're not well, they come down the list, and somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. And then right at the bottom, if you've got 3.5 seconds in the day, it's me time. And that's it. It's not anything else other than I don't deserve. And when you start listening to your heart, when you start realizing that you are so worthy, that you do deserve, then you've got more to give. That's the bonus of it. Is that when you start looking after yourself, you've got not less to give to other people, but more. You have this inner joy. That's one thing I started learning when I started, you know, this is like 20 odd years ago. When I started doing all this self-love stuff, I realized that I had like this joy and excitement inside me that I couldn't wait to share. And I think That's it. I think that women are scared that if they start looking after themselves, there'll be nothing left for other people. When you start looking after yourself, there's actually more to give to other people. And people are very excited to be around you, and they're drawn to you because you've got this aura, this energy, this passion for life. And that's what we ought to have. That's what people ought to have. Life's not meant to be a struggle. It's meant to be joyous and happy and loved and passionate.
Well, that's so very interesting. And what I've observed is these new midlife women have this magnetism about them because they have got it right. I mean, the danger, of course, is people thinking, I never could be like that. But that's why I particularly asked you to tell a bit about your earlier story, because people are saying, well, it's all right for her. She had this advantage that I don't have, or that advantage that you have. And this is all stuff that we built up, as you said, from childhood and then subsequently like baggage, isn't it? It's like a weight holding us down, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And once we acknowledge that, it's a two-step process, isn't it? The first is acknowledging it, and then it's the scary thing about once you've acknowledged it and you become aware of it, that's when it gets really scary because then you've either got to do something or you stay in your comfort zone. And once
Yes,
you're aware of something, you can't really go back.
that's right. You can't go back to sleep, can you?
No, not at all, not at all. And that's when it gets scary. But it's also exciting because you don't
Yeah.
know what's out there. It's adventures. Why shouldn't we have adventures at our age? Doesn't what difference does it make? You know, for me, age is just a number. It means absolutely nothing. Um, and I think that when women really embrace that, when they realize that they don't have to be perfect, that they are perfect. They're just wonderful the way they are. They don't need fixing. They don't need to be thinner. They don't need to be richer. They don't need to wear, some designer outfit is not going to make them better.
Yeah.
It's
So,
how if you feel great inside, you can put anything on and feel awesome. It's true.
well, that's a wonderful prospect because it's we've been stressing the negative, changing things that people don't like in their lives. But then on what's on the other side, the positive attraction of this sort of free lifestyle. You put something on Facebook which I shared, which was these quite elderly New York women. I mean, very elderly actually, for the ones who reveal their age, who were still. Well, you could describe them better than I can, I think.
With all the amazing outfits, with the
Yeah,
hats and the clothes, and yeah, awesome, absolutely incredible. And that's just a small section of women, and but they all looked incredible, and they were all, to my mind, they were alive. They were just, they weren't wearing the crimping and the whatever. They didn't look like old ladies. They looked
no,
like women who were really in charge of their lives. They looked
yeah.
incredible. And
They
some
had
of
a,
the outfits were like, whoa, just wonderful, bright colours and patterns and, you know, just live.
yeah,
That's what
but
it's about.
it all comes from inside. They had such light in their eyes. That was the thing that was most observable, really. And because we don't want to think it's all about just dressing up in strange in clothes that you're not used to. It's got to come. You're manifesting your inner light. Well, this is wonderful. So, what I would like to just ask you is, well, actually, we've just covered that it's the why. It's what lies on the other side. I mean, I'm always careful to say to people, this isn't the why like in YMCA. This is the why, which is the reason why you'd make the effort to change your life. Because there's no disguising, it is an effort to move from one state to the other. And it needs constant, if you like, reinforced reinvigoration, not to backslide.
Mm.
Because that was too easy in the early days anyway. Of course, once you've really got it between your teeth, there's no danger you're going to backslide. So can I ask you a question from your experience? How easily can people do it on their own?
Um, I would say not. I don't think it is. It's very simple, but it's not easy. Because we all need somebody to be there for us. We need somebody to kick us up the bottom and to hold our hand and to believe in us when we don't believe in ourselves. I've had it, um, and I think that to have somebody who's been there and done it, and we'll hold your hand and we'll say to you, this is what you need to do. I have this big thing about the sat nav, liking the universe for the sat nav, and you've got to listen to the sat nav and go with the flow. Listen to, if it says turn left, bloody turn left. Don't turn right and then wonder why you got lost. Go left and just enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
So sat nav, if you like, is your mentor, is your coach, is your guiding person. Somebody who can say, I think this is what, you're the one that does the driving. You're the one that does the work. But it's all very well for me to say, you need to wake up every morning and say, today is going to be a great day. Look in the mirror and say, good morning, gorgeous, aren't you wonderful? But how often are you going to do it without me there every morning to say, did you do that this morning? Or at least not every day, but every week, saying, did you do it this morning?
Yep.
To keep you on track, because it's too easy to go, especially now, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and 1st of September, a couple of weeks' time, it's going to start being dark and cooler in the mornings and cooler in the evenings. And it's so easy to come home from work and lay on the sofa and just veg out and just, and another 6 months will go because that's the winter and, and there you are, 12 pounds heavier and you haven't done anything about your life.
Yes, so true. So you said you found your mentors as you went along, apparently almost by chance, but today things are a lot more structured. There are more people like yourself who are able to give people, yes, they know what they're coming for and they know what they're going to get, and it can help to get the result by the fastest possible route. So can you just tell me a little bit about your hopes for the future and plans for the future for the Me Time movement, let's call it?
Me Time movement, yes. Well, I'm very excited because being part of Radio Works World and all sorts of things are developing, which is very, very exciting for me because, I'm just one little voice, but I want to get my passion out to more people. And this is a wonderful, the internet, today's technology, it's such a phenomenal way of getting my message, getting my story out to help people. Because I am so passionate about helping people not waste their lives. Because I felt that for so long I wasted mine. That I sat around and listened to the naysayers and the toxic people and just lived my life through somebody else or for somebody else. And so I want to help people, whether they're, I don't know, whether they're 22 or 52 or 92. It doesn't matter. Age is just a number. It's what's going on inside. And I want to show people how to embrace all this excitement that's there, all the love that they've got inside them, to channel, to be able to enrich their own lives and thereby helping other people to do it as well. It's like little ripples, isn't it? If I'm helping, somebody helps me and then I help somebody else and then they help somebody else. And so it goes on, and with a bit of luck, we'll encompass the world. And that's absolutely wonderful.
That's a tremendous vision. That's wonderful. So finally, can I really ask how people can connect and engage with you and get a copy of your book?
Absolutely. You can get a copy of my book on my Radio Works World Me Time. It's a very long, which probably if I said it, people wouldn't remember it anyway. But to actually get in touch with me, and then I can give you the details, you can go to adriennemarksmetime.com/connect us, and then that gets you the Mastery Discovery, and then you just fill out your form, let me know, and I'll send you the details about how you can get my book. And actually, if you buy it there, it's cheaper than it is on Amazon.
Right, very good. So, but people could go and look at it, and I mean, looking, get a bit of a feel for the book,
Oh, absolutely.
and get your spelling of your name right, and all those kind of things there.
Oh,
And then,
absolutely.
so just tell us again what that address was, your website.
Marks, I'll spell it. ADRIENNE, Marks, MARKS, metime.com.
That's very good. Right, so we've now got that in. So I think we've probably more or less run out of time, but I think it's been wonderful. So the time's flown, hasn't it? You've really given us, hopefully, well, you have given us such a vision and such a hope for the future that I know that the midlife woman community will be very responsive to this, because it's the starting point for so many. There seem to be so many things, difficulties and so forth. If the starting point is giving themselves more me time, and I'm sure you advise people on, well, I know it's in the book, practical ways you can actually give yourself me time, interrupt the flow, and gradually, it's a bit like meditation, isn't it? The more you do it, the more you get out of it, and then the more you make time for it.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. So if I can thank you again on behalf of our audience, Adrienne, do you want to read? No, you just repeat the address again of your website. I do want people to connect with you.
Thank you. It's adriennemarksmetime.com. And I would like to say that me time is when you start doing it, when you start taking some me time. And sometimes I say to people, even if you're in a very busy job and you've only got 5 minutes, go into the toilet, just sit in a cubicle and close the door and just sit there for 5 minutes and breathe. That's what me time's about. It's just connecting with your heart. And it's so easy. And the more you do it, the more you'll want to do it. And it will impact everything. It will impact your relationships, your love life, your work life, your money, your health, everything. But everything will be impacted. Certainly your relationship. And it'll just be so good for you. adriennemarksmetime.com.
Very good. Well, thank you very much indeed, Adrienne.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is Jeam Macdonald of the New Midlife Woman Community speaking to you on W.O.R.K.S World, and that was created by the wonderful Marina Nani. And so I'm hoping that I will be speaking to lots more wonderful people like Adrienne in the future, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. Sending you lots of love. Bye-bye.
Thank you.